Good evening, all of you. All right. Am I audible and clear to all of you, loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pratap. All right. Is the white screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right. So, in the last class, we were speaking about the continental drift theory, right? Now, this continental drift theory will continue with this today in the class, and we'll also be touching upon plate tectonics. One of the most important topics in the field of geomorphology in geography, and one of the most fundamental activities which has taken place on the surface of the earth has been crustal movement, and because of that mountains, plateaus have been formed, right? Volcanism has occurred. So we'll start with this continental drift theory. A brief introduction was given in the last class on Saturday, right? And you've seen the diagram also of the present shape and positioning of the continents, and we have seen the diagram of the shape and positioning of the continents 200 million years ago, okay, as given by the German geophysicist and geologist Alfred Wegener, right? So Alfred Wegener in 1912 he proposed the hypothesis of continental drift, okay. Now, let's see what Alfred Wegener said, and why his work has been most important is because this work has been the pioneering effort, the first effort towards crustal movement on the surface of the earth, right? So, was first pioneering effort in which a correct hypothesis was put forward. However, he was lacking in few things which we'll discuss today. But to prove that his hypothesis was correct, he has given multiple evidences. Evidences were okay, but the reason behind the movement of crustal plates was not given correctly by Alfred Wegener. Okay, so let us see what he said and what kind of evidences he has produced, and what critics had to say about his hypothesis. Now, why his work also becomes important apart from being a pioneering effort is that this is the build up to the plate tectonics theory, which was proposed later in 1960s. Okay, so this is the build up. So, in continental drift, Wegener said that in the hypothesis, he clearly stated that the plates on the surface of the earth, the plates on the surface of the earth have been in a state of have been in a state of continuous slow movement since time immemorial since time immemorial. What is the meaning of time immemorial? Since we have known, since the time we have known, means for a long time in the past, right? So the plates on the surface of the earth have been in a state of continuous slow movement since time immemorial, and and along the plate boundaries and along the plate boundaries various various tectonic activities, and along the plate boundaries, various tectonic activities such as mountain building, volcanism, various tectonic activities such as mountain building, comma, volcanism, etc. have occurred. Have occurred. Right? Can I go to the previous slide so that you can note it down? Yes? देख लीजिए. Since time immemorial and along the plate boundaries, various tectonic. What is the meaning of the word tectonic here? Activities related to earth movements. Tectonic is very simple. Activities related to or pertaining to earth movements. Right? Those are called tectonic activities. Okay, earth movements ka matlab not earth as a planet moving, but the crustal plates on the surface of the earth. Okay, plate boundaries, along the plate boundaries, various tectonic activities such as mountain building, volcanism, etc. have occurred. Alfred Wegener also said in his hypothesis of 1912 that the shape and positioning of various continents have varied over the past 200 million years. Over the past 200 million years. Over the past 200 million years, and will continue to vary in the geological future as well. Will continue to vary in the geological future as well. So the shape and positioning of various continents have varied over the past 200 million years and will continue to vary in the geological future as well. Geological future, by this we mean that, no? In the long short, means long way, long time in the future. Long time in the future means for another millions of years. When we look into the future for the next millions of years, what the shape and size and position of the continents which we see today will not remain the same, right? Same नहीं रहेगा, future में change हो जाएगा. आज ऐसा दिख रहा है, present में ऐसा है, future में change होगा, because ultimately जो asthenosphere है, the layer which is located below the crust of the earth, वहां पे जो convectional currents हैं will continue in the future also, and 3 to 4 centimeters per year, which is the rate of movement of the plates, will continue to alter the shape and position of the continents in the future as well. Okay, so in addition to this, the first statement which you have written after that, he also said the shape and position of the continents has varied for in the past 200 million years and will vary in the geological future as well. Okay, लिख लिया? Have you written until now?
Yes, sir.
सबने? Now, the third argument which was presented by Alfred Wegener.
Sir, just go back to the previous page.
Okay. Yes. No problem. Just note it well. Just read. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you can consider this number 1 and you can consider this number 2, right?
Done.
All right. Now the third argument which was put forth by Alfred Wegener was that, which you've seen in the last class also, that 200 plus million years ago, the continents were bound together. The continents were bound together and existed as Pangea. Remember Pangea? All Earth, right? Existed as Pangea, surrounded by Panthalassa, all water. Pangea, simple all earth. Pan means all, Gea means earth. Here, Pan again means all. Thalassa means earth. Right? Oh, sorry. Thalassa means water. So all earth surrounded by all water. And number 4, due to slow movement of the crustal plates, the continents have moved to the present position on the surface of the earth. Right? Due to slow movement of the crustal plates, the continents have moved to present position on the surface of the earth. Noted? Okay, great. Number 5 and last. Number 5. The number 5 argument as given by Alfred Wegener was that. अब यही वो आर्ग्यूमेंट है जिससे कंट्रोवर्सी और ज्यादा बढ़ गई थी, ठीक है ना? अब एल्फ्रेड वेगनर ने बोला द रीजन फॉर मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्लेट, the reason for movement of the plates is the tidal force exercised by the moon and the sun. क्या है reason? The tidal force exercised by the moon and the sun. What is tidal force? The force which is generated because of gravitational pull between number 1 moon and earth, right? And number 2 sun and earth. Gravitational pull between moon and earth as well as sun and earth. Tidal force क्यों बोलते हैं? Because ultimately it is manifested to the eye in the form of the movement of the tides in the oceans and the seas. When we are on a beach, in any place, at any place on the surface of the earth, we see there is a low tide, high tide. High tide होता है night के time में. Low tide कब होता है? Morning में. Daytime is the period of low tide. Night time is the period for high tide. Even if you go to Mumbai, Chennai, everywhere, anywhere, you see the water seems very aggressive, during the night. And it splashes on the beach, it splashes on the land. And by the time the sun rises in the morning, the water recedes back to the ocean. उसको low tide बोलते हैं, right? तो tidal force आती कहां से है? ग्रेविटेशनल पुल से. तो एल्फ्रेड वेगनर ने ये बोला कि टाइडल फोर्स की वजह से प्लेट्स मूव हो रही हैं. अब यहां पे कंट्रोवर्सी शुरू हो गया. Until now he was taken okay that slow movement is happening. The shape and position of the continents varied for the last 200 million years. That was also okay, right? But एक तो ये point था controversy की the tidal force. Critics ने क्या बोला reply में? The critics said that tidal force is not enough to. This is the argument of the critics to bring about movement of solid landmass. It is not enough to bring about movement of solid landmass. नहीं है enough. And critics were right also कि tidal force पानी को तो move करा देती है. Night time you see high tide, daytime you see low tide, but it is certainly not enough to move a heavy and dense mass like a landmass. Landmass is composed of solid. So tidal force is not enough. So this was the argument of the critics. अब इसका कारण क्या है कि एल्फ्रेड वेगनर वॉज अनअवेयर अबाउट द फैक्ट दैट कि एस्थेनोस्फेयर में जो कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स हैं, जो पेरिडोटाइट रॉक का मूवमेंट हो रहा है फ्रॉम वन पोजीशन टू अनदर, दैट इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्लेट. एल्फ्रेड वेगनर डाउटेड ऑन दैट. ही हैड इन फैक्ट नो क्लू कि यहां से कुछ कन्वेक्शनल करंट्स निकलेंगे. क्यों निकलेंगे? बिकॉज ऑफ मूवमेंट ऑफ स्लो मूवमेंट ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल्स इन द पेरिडोटाइट रॉक, राइट. वो प्लास्टिक स्टेट में है, इट इज नॉट सॉलिड एंटायरली. उसको नहीं पता था. एल्फ्रेड वेगनर वाज नॉट अवेयर कि इंटरनल फोर्स इज एबल टू मूव द क्रस्टल प्लेट्स ऑन द सर्फेस ऑफ द अर्थ. तो उसने बोल दिया कि टाइडल फोर्स से मूव हो रहा है, which was absolutely wrong. Now because his reason for the movement of the plates was wrong, he was doubted on other arguments also. Other arguments पे भी doubt हुए, question उठने लगे. Now for example, point number 4 we see, due to slow movement of the crustal plates, the continents have moved to the present position on the surface of the earth. Now for every point, Wegener was asked to present the evidence. हर point पे बोला आप evidence दीजिए. What is the evidence you have? What is the evidence that 200 million plus years the continents were together? इस पे तो बहुत strong evidence मांगा कि how can you say the continents were together? Continents could have been dispersed on the surface of the earth at various corners. But how is it possible that the continents were together? What is the evidence? He was asked to give the evidence. Point number 2, the shape and positioning of the various continents have varied. Again, how can you say that it will continue to vary in the future? And how can you say it has varied in the past? So everything was questioned. Everything was questioned. No? So what Alfred Wegener did was, so he had to answer the how. Right? And for answering the how, Alfred Wegener had to present evidences. Evidence number 1, which Alfred Wegener gave, was similarity of animal, जिसको हम फॉनल भी बोलते हैं. यस एविडेंस देना पड़ेगा ना. क्रिटिक्स ने पूछा कि कैसे बोल सकते हैं आप, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम कहां पे है कि वंस एनीवन गिव्स अ राइट रॉन्ग रीजन, एवरीथिंग कम्स अंडर डाउट. अभी वो बोलेगा टाइडल फोर्स है जिससे कि इंडिया वर्ल्ड में द प्लेट्स आर मूविंग. It's Indian plate, it's Eurasian plate, whatever plate it is, North American, South American, Australian. But that is not correct. Tidal force cannot move a solid landmass. Critics were absolutely right. And once this was pointed out that he is wrong on the reason, he was asked to present evidence on everything. Now, similarity of animal / faunal fossils and floral / plant fossils. Plant कर दीजिए, trees कर दीजिए. उन्होंने क्या बोला कि fossils क्या होता है? The dead remains of animals and plants, right? The carcasses of animals and plants. So this was the first evidence given by Wegener. Dead remains, fossils. Now what he said was, do you remember the diagram which we discussed that day? Yes? Continental drift when the continents were shown together. बनाया था आपने अपने नोट्स में? Right? बनाया था नहीं बनाया था?
Yes, sir.
डायग्राम को फिर से रेफर करिए, पेज को, just go back to the diagram, okay? And I'm opening it here. In fact, Alfred Wegener also spoke about similarity of mineral fossils. अब ये जो similarity of mineral fossils है, उन्होंने स्पेशली दिया नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फेयर के लिए. अब ये मिनरल मैं जानबूझ के यूज कर रहा हूं यहां पे, अदरवाइज मिनरल फॉसिल्स जिसका उन्होंने कोल का सिमिलैरिटी दिया था डिफरेंट कॉन्टिनेंट्स में, स्पेशली नॉर्थ अमेरिका एंड यूरोप, राइट? अब वो एनिमल फॉनल फॉसिल्स और प्लांट फॉसिल्स में आ जाता है, क्योंकि कोल, व्हाट इज कोल? कोल इज नथिंग बट ऑर्गेनिकली फॉर्म्ड सेडिमेंट्री रॉक, राइट? जब जो वेजिटल मैटर था, जो ट्रीज का बार्क होता है, जो वुड होता है, व्हेन इट डिकम्पोजेस ओवर अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम अंडर हीट एंड प्रेशर, तो जब अर्थ मूवमेंट होते थे तो पेड़ धरती के अंदर दब जाते थे, सॉइल के बीच में दब जाते थे, राइट? जिसको हम पहले बोलते थे प्रलय आ गई है. तो प्रलय के टाइम में क्या होता था, व्हेन अर्थ मूवमेंट्स यूज्ड टू बिकम वेरी एग्रेसिव और earthquakes used to be very high intensity, that time subduction of forest हो जाता था कि फॉरेस्ट के फॉरेस्ट जमीन के नीचे धस जाते थे. और यही जो वुड है, जो ट्रीज का जो लकड़ी है, जो वुड है, when it starts to decompose over a period of time, over a long period of geological time under heat and pressure, यही वुड क्या बन जाता है? कोल बन जाता है. कोल इज नथिंग बट डिकम्पोज्ड वुड, डिकम्पोज्ड लकड़ी. डिकम्पोज कहां? सॉइल के नीचे जब दबता है तो उस पर प्रेशर भी पड़ता है, और जो सॉइल में जो हमारे बैक्टीरियाज हैं, जो केमिकल्स हैं, वो भी उसके साथ रिएक्ट करते हैं वुड के साथ और उसको डिकम्पोज करते हैं, और बहुत टाइम लगता है, मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स लगते हैं कि वही लकड़ी का टुकड़ा क्या बन जाता है? कोल बन जाता है, काले रंग का, राइट? ब्लैक कलर कोल. और इसी कोल को यूज किया जाता है आजकल पोस्ट इंडस्ट्रियल रिवोल्यूशन पावर प्रोडक्शन के लिए. इट इज ऑल्सो यूज्ड इन स्टील प्लांट्स, राइट, एज अ इंग्रेडिएंट टू स्टील मेकिंग. तो ये भी उन्होंने एविडेंस दिए. तो मिनरल फॉसिल्स आर आल्सो डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम प्लांट फॉसिल्स ओनली, बट फॉर आवर क्लैरिटी यू आल्सो मेंशन दिस, राइट? अब देखिए, you can see this diagram on your screen, right? देख सकते हैं? सबको दिख रहा है कंप्लीट डायग्राम?
Yes, sir.
देखो ऊपर क्या लिखा है, ये देख रहे हो आप? This animal is visible to all of you. Looks like a dog, a huge dog with a big face, right? Now this animal, can you read out the name here? Lystrosaurus. पढ़ने में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
पढ़ने में आ रहा है ना? अब देखिए, लिस्ट्रोसॉरस एक फॉसिल एविडेंस है ऑफ द ट्रायसिक लैंड रिप्लाई. अभी के लिए आप जानिए, ये जो ट्रायसिक वर्ड है ये क्या है? इट इज सम पीरियड, एक टाइम पीरियड है जियोलॉजिकल पास्ट में. ट्रायसिक, आपने जुरासिक तो सुना होगा, जुरासिक मूवी देखी है आप लोगों ने? जुरासिक वर्ल्ड, जुरासिक पार्क देखिए ना? ये जो जुरासिक वर्ड है ये क्या है? इट रेफर्स टू अ टाइम पीरियड लॉन्ग बैक इन द जियोलॉजिकल हिस्ट्री ऑफ द अर्थ। जुरासिक के टाइम में, ट्रायसिक के टाइम में डायनासोर्स हुआ करते थे। तो जुरासिक के आसपास ट्रायसिक भी आया था, पीरियड, टाइम पीरियड। तो इस टाइम में क्या होते थे? डायनासोर्स होते थे धरती पे, ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ द अर्थ, राइट? डायनासोर्स यूज्ड टू डोमिनेट। तो लिस्ट्रोसॉरस एक स्पीशीज थी जिसको लैंड रिप्टाइल बोला एल्फ्रेड वेगनर ने, और उन्होंने ये कहा कि द एविडेंस ऑफ द फॉसिल of Lystrosaurus was found in 3 places: Africa, India, as well as Antarctica. You see this brown belt? It is flowing across 3 land masses. देख रहे हैं? अफ्रीका में मिला, इंडिया में मिला, और कहां मिला? अंटार्कटिका। यस? इसको बना लीजिए अपने नोट्स में अभी के अभी, ऐसे जैसे यहां दिखा रखा है ना, ऐसे ही बनाइए। इससे क्या पता लगता है? एल्फ्रेड वेगनर क्या बोलना चाह रहे थे कि if the evidence of Lystrosaurus is found in India, it is found in Africa, it is found in Antarctica also, तो कहने का मतलब यह है कि these continents and countries might have been together at one point of time in the geological history of the earth. कभी तो साथ में होंगे, तभी तो मिला। अफ्रीका में भी मिला फॉसिल एविडेंस। फॉसिल एविडेंस मिलने का क्या कंक्लूजन है? कि अल्टीमेटली दिस एनिमल वॉक्ड ऑन द सरफेस ऑफ द अर्थ एट दीज 3 प्लेसेस, अफ्रीका ऑल्सो, इंडिया ऑल्सो, अंटार्कटिका ऑल्सो। और वहीं पे जब उसका एक्सटिंक्शन हो गया तो फॉसिल्स मिल गए, है कि नहीं? तो एल्फ्रेड वेगनर का ये मानना था, व्हाट हिज बिलीफ वाज, कि इफ the continents were together, then only the animal walked in Africa also, in India also, Antarctica also. अब क्रिटिक्स ने इसको भी काउंटर किया। क्रिटिक्स ने बोला नहीं, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है, ये भी हो सकता है कि at different places on the surface of the earth parallel evolution is happening. Parallel evolution, एक एनिमल जो जन्म लेता है नॉर्थ अमेरिका में, वो इंडिया में भी पाया जा सकता है। एक एनिमल जो अफ्रीका में है, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल लायन, इवन द राइनो इज फाउंड इन अफ्रीका, यू नो दैट, राइट? मिलता है ना, कीनिया, तंजानिया में राइनो मिलता है, इंडिया में भी है। इंडिया में है, पाकिस्तान में है, नेपाल में है, बांग्लादेश में है। जो इंडियन राइनो है, दैट सिल्वर कलर स्पीशीज इज फाउंड इन इंडिया, नेपाल, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश ऑल्सो एंड अफ्रीका ऑल्सो। अफ्रीका में थोड़ा सा ब्रीड डिफरेंट है, बट है वो भी राइनो, उसका भी हॉर्न है। वहां भी लायन मिलता है, द ग्रेट अफ्रीकन सफारी जिसको बोलते हैं, कीनिया, फॉरेस्ट ऑफ कीनिया और द ट्रॉपिकल ग्रासलैंड्स ऑफ कीनिया, तंजानिया में। और वही लायन हमको गिर फॉरेस्ट में मिलता है, गुजरात में, राइट? मिलता है नहीं? तो लायन जब दो जगह मिल सकता है, अभी एल्फ्रेड वेगनर, if he would have been alive, he would have said why lion is found in India and Africa, because they are together. Right? Now, critics were right in their questions, but Wegener was also right कि continents together थे, parallel evolution होना is also a reality. But Wegener was trying to prove the fact that this animal, Lystrosaurus, was found in Africa, India and Antarctica. इसके fossils मिले तीनों जगह। इसका मतलब कहीं ना कहीं these land masses were joined together. Number two, you see down, can you see on the left hand side? Fossil remains of Sinognathus. Can you read this? All of you? Fossil remains of Sinognathus, a Triassic land reptile, approximately 3 meters long. इसका फॉसिल कहां मिला? साउथ अमेरिका में as well as Africa. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Can you note this down? ऑल ऑफ यू? इसमें जो आपने ऊपर लिखा था ना लिस्ट्रोसॉरस, इसको भी अंडरलाइन करिए। आप ट्रायसिक लैंड रिप्टाइल याद रखें ना रखें, आप लिस्ट्रोसॉरस के नाम को जरूर याद रखिए, राइट? एंड अनदर लैंड रिप्टाइल बिलोंगिंग टू द ट्रायसिक पीरियड is Cynognathus. Noted? And if you see right of Cynognathus, can you see Mesosaurus? देख सकते हैं Mesosaurus, this long reptile. Now Mesosaurus is different from both Lystrosaurus and Cynognathus. Mesosaurus is a freshwater reptile. क्या है? फ्रेश वाटर में पाया जाता है. फ्रेश वाटर इज नॉट ओशियनिक वाटर. ओशियनिक वाटर इज सॉल्टी, सलाइन. फ्रेश वाटर मतलब पॉन्ड्स का पानी, रिवर का पानी. तो मीजोसॉरस एज पर एल्फ्रेड वेगनर वाज फाउंड इन साउथ अमेरिका एज वेल एज अफ्रीका. अब क्रिटिक्स ने ये बोला कि एल्फ्रेड वेगनर का जो आर्ग्यूमेंट था कि दोनों जगह पाया जाता है, उनका जो एविडेंस था दैट इट इज फाउंड इन बोथ द कॉन्टिनेंट्स. व्हाट क्रिटिक्स सेड that how can a freshwater reptile be found in both places? Alfred Wegener said yes, the fossils have been found. And when he proved the fact कि fossils मिला है, तो उस टाइम में critics के पास एक ही counter argument था that parallel evolution, parallel evolution, parallel evolution. They were just beating around the same argument. अब एल्फ्रेड वेगनर ने इसका भी काउंटर दिया. उन्होंने कहा that if Mesosaurus is a freshwater reptile and it is proven by scientific research on this animal के fossils पे कि ये freshwater reptile है, और अगर कॉन्टिनेंट साथ में नहीं थे तो इसका पॉपुलेशन इफ साउथ अमेरिका से स्टार्ट हुआ तो अफ्रीका तक कैसे पहुंचा? If it is a freshwater reptile, it cannot swim in the ocean. तो अगर साउथ अमेरिका और अफ्रीका साथ में नहीं थे, जॉइंट नहीं थे, तो this animal cannot swim in the ocean and reach the other continent and start multiplying in population. That is not possible. So critics said yes, we agree, because fossils were presented, the fossil evidence was presented and it was found correct. Now once it is found correct, Alfred Wegener had the strong point that if it is found in South America and if it is found in Africa also, और आप कहते हैं, क्रिटिक्स को उन्होंने बोला, आप कहते हैं कि कॉन्टिनेंट साथ में नहीं था, कॉन्टिनेंट्स वर नॉट टुगेदर, देन हाउ कैन दिस एनिमल फ्लोट अक्रॉस द ओशन एंड रीच द अदर कॉन्टिनेंट? दैट इज आल्सो नॉट पॉसिबल. तो इन अ वे एल्फ्रेड वेगनर वाज राइट. Alfred Wegener was right in the fact that they were joined together and that's why the population could be found in both the continents. Can you see the fourth one on the right, bottom right corner? Can you read this? Fossils of the fern Glossopteris. Can you read this? Just wait.
Yes, sir.
एक मिनट. Sorry. अब देखिए. Can you read this? Fossils of the fern Glossopteris found in all of the southern continents. This is a different species. It is not a faunal species. Means it is not an animal fossil. This is a plant fossil or tree fossil. Now fossils of the fern Glossopteris found in all of the southern continents show that they were once joined. यहाँ पे तो लिख ही दिया. Even National Geographic is writing. This diagram is found on National Geographic channel website. तो वहां पे भी लिखा है show that they were once joined. This is the biggest evidence. You see this green color? Green color across all the 5 land masses here. Right from Australia to Antarctica to India to Africa to South America. And what Alfred Wegener said was, and this was proven also, that the fossil evidence of Glossopteris. Now, Glossopteris is a fern, FERN, fern. Bushes हैं कुछ. Uh, but Glossopteris, as per the scientific research, could grow to almost 200 feet height also. It becomes a huge tree. बहुत बड़ा पेड़ बन जाता है. और इसका सीड बहुत भारी होता है. रिसर्च ने ये बताया है कि जो ग्लोसोपिटेरिस के फॉसिल्स मिले हैं, सीड के फॉसिल्स भी मिले, एंड दे वर ऑफ द ओपिनियन दैट द सीड ऑफ द ग्लोसोपिटेरिस कुड वे अप टू 1 kg. ह्यूज, राइट? पहले बोलते थे ना, जानवर भी बड़े होते थे, पेड़ भी बड़े होते थे पहले. एनिमल्स वर ह्यूज, द ट्रीज वर ऑल्सो ह्यूज. नाउ एल्फ्रेड वेगनर को क्रिटिक्स ने बोला पैरेलल इवोल्यूशन. फिर से काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट वाज प्रेजेंटेड बाय एल्फ्रेड वेगनर एंड ही सेड दैट if continents were not together, as you are saying, as you are countering my hypothesis, if continents were not together, how is it possible that the seed of Glossopteris tree, which is weighing up to 1 kg, can float across the ocean and reach the other landmass? Is it possible? उधर डूब जाएगा ना, 1 kg का सीड थोड़ा फ्लोट करेगा. और फ्लोट भी करेगा तो कितना दूर जाएगा? 15,000 किलोमीटर नहीं जा सकता, 10,000 किलोमीटर नहीं जा सकता, फॉरगेट अबाउट दैट, 1,000 किलोमीटर नहीं जा सकता. तो ऐसा तो है नहीं कि कॉन्टिनेंट्स वर नॉट जॉइन एंड दे वर फार अवे एंड द सीड्स केप्ट ऑन फ्लोटिंग इन द ओशन एंड दे रीच्ड एवरी अदर लैंडमास. दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल. सो एल्फ्रेड वेगनर वाज अगेन राइट कि पैरेलल इवोल्यूशन इज ओके, बट डेफिनेटली वो लैंडमास जब पेंजिया था, when this landmass on the surface of the earth 200 million years ago was Pangea, located at the center of the earth, around the center of the earth, तो वो लैंडमास एक सुपर कॉन्टिनेंट था, वो एक ही कॉन्टिनेंट था. उस कॉन्टिनेंट में एनिमल्स भी सिमिलर मिले, उस कॉन्टिनेंट में ट्रीज के फॉसिल्स हर जगह मिले, हर कोने में. और वही कॉन्टिनेंट टूटा when it broke into various continents. Those individual plates became North America, South America, Europe, Australia, India, right? That he was correct. Pangea, इसलिए आपको एनसीईआरटी में पढ़ते हैं Pangea दिया हुआ है. Pangea is a universal, is a global reality, which has been proven by the hypothesis of Alfred Wegener. Now, this poor fellow was only lacking in the fact that he could not present the right reason. He was giving the wrong reason. Tidal force. वहां पे उसको फंसा लिया. Okay, tidal force. That means this guy, if he can present a wrong reason, he might be wrong on other parameters also. That was the doubt created by the critics. But the evidence, the strong evidence of fossils of Glossopteris was very strong. This kind of evidence of a plant fossil found in all the continents definitely proves that ये साउथ अमेरिका, अफ्रीका कभी अलग नहीं था. ये सब एक ही लैंडमास था. नोटेड यहां तक? यस. सो व्हाट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर इज, लिस्ट्रोसॉरस को याद रखेंगे, land reptile. Cynognathus you have to remember, another land reptile. Mesosaurus, freshwater reptile. And Glossopteris. ये चार को आप याद रखें. इन चार में से these three are faunal species, right? And this is a floral species. Okay. Noted. Can I move ahead? लिस्ट्रोसॉरस, साइनोग्नाथस, मीजोसॉरस, and 4 is Glossoteres. Done? Noted?
Yes, sir.
अब इसमें एक और चीज है, मिनरल फॉसिल्स. सी दिस हियर, कोल. अब कोल की बात करिए तो व्हाट डिड एल्फ्रेड वेगनर से इज दैट according to Alfred Wegener, North America and Europe were also together. You see, if you see the eastern coastline of North America, you see this is the eastern coastline of North America, right? So this slants from northeast to southwest की तरफ ऐसा slant कर रहा है ना direction wise, right? And if you see the western coastline of Europe, इसका slant कैसा है? Southwest to northeast. तो वेगनर ने ये बोला कि similarity of mineral fossils was basically about the coal. कोल ईस्टर्न कोस्टलाइन पे भी मिला नॉर्थ अमेरिका के, एंड कोल वाज फाउंड ऑन द वेस्टर्न कोस्टलाइन ऑफ यूरोप आल्सो, राइट? अब देखिए यहां पे ईस्टर्न कोस्टलाइन ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका में कुछ माउंटेन्स हैं जिसका नाम है एपेलेशंस. द माउंटेन्स आर नथिंग बट द नेम इज एपेलेशन माउंटेन्स. ऐसे ही यूरोप में there is a valley in Germany, in present Germany right now, Rhone Valley. Have you heard about Rhone Valley of Germany? Rhone is basically a river. अभी जो इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन हम देखते हैं ना लेट 1700s का, जो पोस्ट 1787 स्टार्ट हुआ, it basically started from industrial revolution started from Europe, and in Europe also it started from Rhone Valley. वो इसलिए स्टार्ट हुआ क्योंकि कोल था वहां पे. क्या मिला? कोल. एवरी इंडस्ट्री इन द वर्ल्ड हैज इट्स फाउंडेशन टू कोल. कोल से शुरुआत हुआ सबका सब कुछ. इनफैक्ट जब ब्रिटिशर्स इंडिया में आए थे तो उनका भी मेन पर्पस ये था कि कोल माइंस जितनी भी है इंडिया में, उनको रेलवे लाइन जो उन्होंने बनाया, रेलवेज को इंट्रोड्यूस किया इंडिया में, उसका पर्पस यही था कि कोल को निकाल के वैगन्स पे लोड करना है, और जो पोर्ट्स हैं इंडिया के, बॉम्बे, मैड्रास, कैलकाटा, पुराने नाम में बोलते थे ना, मैड्रास, कैलकाटा, बॉम्बे, इन पोर्ट से एक्सपोर्ट करना है. कहां पे? जहां भी उनको लेके जाना, यूरोप लेके जाना है उनको, उनकी कॉलोनीज अफ्रीका में भी थी, वहां भी लेके जाते थे, कोल लेके जाते थे. कोल बिकेम द फाउंडेशन ऑफ एवरी इंडस्ट्री इन द वर्ल्ड. कोल से ही पावर प्रोड्यूस होती है, और जब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी होगी तो आपकी मशीन्स रन करेंगी. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं तो मशीन्स का कोई काम नहीं, राइट? तो रोन वैली से इंडस्ट्रियल रिवॉल्यूशन शुरू हुआ. यहां पे कोल मिला. कोल एपेलेशियन माउंटेन्स में भी मिला. तो किसके फॉसिल्स की बात कर रहे थे एल्फ्रेड वेगनर? ही वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट फॉसिल्स ऑफ कोल. सो ही टोल्ड टू थिंग्स हियर. नंबर वन, coal was found in both continents. Coal was found in both continents of North America as well as Europe, right? In North America and Europe. दूसरा उन्होंने कहा, एविडेंस के विद इन एविडेंस उन्होंने दिया फिट ऑफ द कॉन्टिनेंट्स का. उन्होंने बोला कॉन्टिनेंट्स ऐसे लगते हैं जैसे फिट हो रहे हैं आपस में. कैसे? मीन्स उन्होंने बोला कि ईस्टर्न कोस्ट लाइन ऑफ नॉर्थ अमेरिका seems to be fitting in western coastline of Europe. Seems to be fitting in western coastline of Europe. ठीक है ना? Eastern coastline of North America seems to be fitting in western coastline of Europe. ये बोला उन्होंने, ठीक है ना? Eastern coastline of North America seems to be fitting in western coastline of Europe. यहां पे उन्होंने कहां फिटमेंट दिखाया? उन्होंने यहां पे फिटमेंट दिखाया. You see this region, right? कि ऐसा लगता है कि दोनों आपस में फिट हो रहे हैं. तो दो एविडेंस दिए that coal was found, and why he said both continents seem to be together, because the slanting slope of the coastline suggests that North America fitted into Europe, and this evidence he called fit of the continents. कोल का एग्जाम्पल दिया उन्होंने, बहुत बड़ा कोल का एविडेंस दिया इन द केस ऑफ नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर. नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर, राइट? नोटेड? Yes, noted.
Yes, sir.
Then what he said, if we come back to the diagram here, okay, you see this fitment of South America and Africa? देख रहे हो फिटमेंट? अब फिटमेंट कैसे किया? What he said was कि this is North America. नॉर्थ अमेरिका का जो नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न एज है, द नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न एज of South America, I'm so sorry, northeastern edge of South America seems to be fitting into ये देखिए फिटमेंट है, seems to be fitting into the western edge of Africa. So northeastern edge of North America seems to be fitting into western edge of अफ्रीका. आज की डेट में ये जो अफ्रीका का वेस्टर्न एज है, ये क्या है? द ओशन. अफ्रीका के वेस्टर्न एज में एक वाटर बॉडी है जिसका नाम है गल्फ ऑफ गिनी. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट इट? गल्फ ऑफ गिनी सुना है? नहीं सुना तो कोई बात नहीं, एटलस में देख लीजिए. यू सी दिस अफ्रीका, so this is Gulf of Guinea here. Can you see in your atlas? Yes?
Yes, sir.
This is the place जहां पे the virtual center of the earth is located. क्या located है? Virtual center of the earth. Meaning यहां पे 0 डिग्री लैटिट्यूड और 0 डिग्री लॉन्गिट्यूड इंटरसेक्ट करते हैं. दिख रहा है ना एटलस में? वर्ल्ड फिजिकल मैप में देखिए या वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिकल में, कैन यू सी 0 degree latitude, which is equator, being intersected by 0 degree longitude, which is Greenwich meridian? Yes or no? So, as per Alfred Wegener, these two continents were also a good example of fit of the continents due to shape of the coastline, due to shape of the coastline. They were good examples of fit of the continents due to shape of the coastline. Coastline की shape ऐसी है कि ऐसा लगता है दोनों आपस में fit हो गए. Okay, noted. So this example he gave for southern hemisphere. SH southern hemisphere. Noted. देखिए शेप ऑफ द कोस्टलाइन में भी क्रिटिक्स को प्रॉब्लम था, इसमें भी क्रिटिक्स को प्रॉब्लम था. नाउ व्हाट क्रिटिक्स सेड वाज दैट critics said shape of the continental coastlines is dynamic. Shape of the continental coastlines is dynamic and changes every day and changes every day. So this is what critics had to say on fit of the continents. उनका कहने का मतलब था, उनका डायनामिक से मतलब था कि since water splashes every minute, every hour, on the adjacent landmass, which is the coastline, right? It will change the shape of the coastline. It will change the shape of the coastline. तो क्रिटिक्स ने ये बोल के वेगनर को they did not accept that fit of the continents due to the shape of the coastline is a right evidence. So they said that अरे वो तो पानी splash होता है, the water alters the shape of the coastline every minute, every hour. तो आज जो shape दिख रहा है, how can we say that this was the shape 200 million years ago? How can we say that this was the shape 100 million years ago? तो इस एविडेंस को स्ट्राइक डाउन किया क्रिटिक्स ने that fitment of the coastline due to the shape of the coastline is not right. Today, what we see as a fitment might not be the reality 100 million years ago. The shape might have been different. यहां भी स्ट्राइक डाउन कर दिया. Noted?
Yes, sir.
Everyone? So overall, the hypothesis of Wegener was rejected based on based on the reasons based on the reason for continental plate movement. रीजन क्या दिया उन्होंने? टाइडल फोर्स ऑफ द मून एंड द सन एंड few evidences were also questioned, to which Wegener did not have a concrete answer. To which Wegener did not have a concrete answer. Written this one? Yes? Okay, next paragraph, write few more lines. We'll summarize the evidences, and the counter arguments of the critics, right? So write down next paragraph. The evidences of similarity of faunal and floral fossils. Similarity of faunal and floral fossils. The evidences of similarity of faunal and floral fossils, spelling is on the board, presented by Wegener, were taken as mere facts, mere facts by the critics, and since Wegener did not present the right reason, Wegener did not present the right reason as to why the continents, Wegener did not present the right reason as to why the continents moved in the past, are moving in the present, moved in the past, are moving in the present. Yes. Reason as to why the continents moved in the past, are moving in the present, and will move in the future, are moving in the present and will move in the future, comma, most of his evidences, such as fitment of the continents, along the coastlines, fitment of the continents along the coastline. Most of his evidences, such as fitment of the continents along the coastlines, were also struck down. Were also struck down. Were also struck down. Full stop. The similarity of fossils evidence given by Wegener, the similarity of fossils evidence given by Wegener in terms of Lystrosaurus, Sinognathus, write the spelling from the board, in the form of Lystrosaurus, Sinognathus, Mesosaurus and Glossopteris. Lystrosaurus, Sinognathus, Mesosaurus and Glossopteris were also termed futile, and criticized, spelling is on the board, futile and criticized, with the counter argument that there would have been parallel evolution, in the separated continents,
Sir, have been.
there would have been parallel evolution
Okay.
in the separated continents. Evolution in the separated continents in the long geological past. हम geological past से क्या समझते हैं? What we understand by geological past is, geological past is not 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, 200 years. Geological past is minimum thousands of years, millions of years. लंबा time. क्योंकि even the evolution on the surface of the earth has taken long time. It has not happened in 100 or 200 years. It has taken thousands of years. Few structures on the surface of the earth have taken millions of years, like the mountains. हमारा जो Himalayas है, how old do you think it is? Himalayas. 30 million years ago, it was formed. 30 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. And for us, 30 million years is a long time. But what we consider is, Himalayas is one of the youngest and the sharpest mountains in the world. सोचते हैं ना ऐसा? ऐसे ही बोलते हैं? What are Himalayas? They are the youngest, they are the sharpest, they are the loftiest mountains in the world. But when we come to the fact, what we say is it is 30 million years ago. That seems very old. Even the Alps mountains of Europe, in Switzerland, Romania, Albania, Italy, Greece, सब जगह Alps फैला हुआ है, right? You've heard about Alps mountains of Europe, ALPS. सबने सुना है? एल्प्स माउंटेन का भी एज हिमालयस जैसा है 30 मिलियन ईयर्स अगो, बट उनको भी बोलते हैं यंग माउंटेन। से हिमालयस से यंग नहीं है बट फिर भी यंग है। लेकिन जब हम 30 मिलियन ईयर्स बोलते हैं एज अ फैक्ट, इट सीम्स टू बी वेरी ओल्ड टू अस, राइट? तो ऑन द surface of the earth, the structures, when they come to the present shape and size, it has taken millions of years for what we see today. It has not happened overnight or 100 years or 500 years. Not few structures and not even, thousands of years are not enough, and they have taken millions of years to form. ठीक है, कहां तक लिखा था आपने? फ्यूटाइल। जरा सेंटेंस पढ़ना लास्ट वाला। एनीवन?
In the long geological past.
नहीं, उससे पहले क्या था? Can you read the full sentence, please?
Who had also done yoga and exercise the counter
ठीक है, ठीक है, थैंक यू, थैंक यू, समझ, ठीक है ना? तो पैरेलल इवोल्यूशन के बेसिस पे सिमिलैरिटी ऑफ फॉनल एंड फ्लोरल स्पीशीज को डिनाई किया क्रिटिक्स ने, राइट? राइट, फर्दर the similarity of mineral fossils evidence provided by Wagner, the similarity of mineral fossils evidence provided by Wagner was also criticized on the same ground, similar कर दीजिए, was also criticized on the similar ground of parallel subduction of forests, similar ground of parallel subduction of forests along fracture zones on the surface of the earth. यहां पे surface लिखिए, crust लिखिए, both are okay. फ्रैक्चर जोन्स क्या है? जहां जहां पे प्लेट बाउंड्रीज हैं, दो प्लेट टूटती हैं, राइट? तो फ्रैक्चर जोन्स में ही आपके सबडक्शन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट, सबडक्शन का मतलब पेड़ टूट के द प्लांट्स एंड ट्रीज विल subduct below the soil cover, and under heat and pressure for a long geological time it will give out decomposed mineral which is called coal, right? Parallel subduction of forest along fracture zones on the surface or crust of the earth. तो जो सिमिलैरिटी ऑफ फॉसिल्स था उसको भी क्रिटिसाइज कर दिया, सिमिलैरिटी ऑफ मिनरल फॉसिल्स को भी क्रिटिसाइज किया, ये बोल के कि जो सबडक्शन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट है वो तो कहीं पे भी हो सकता है, वो तो नॉर्थ अमेरिका में भी हो सकता है, वो साउथ अमेरिका में भी हो सकता है, इट कैन हैपन इन यूरोप ऑल्सो, बट what is the need of continents to be together? It can happen parallelly. Parallelly means in the same time period at different land masses. Next paragraph. The counter arguments presented by Wegener. The counter arguments presented by Wegener. Counter arguments presented by Wegener for the similarity of animal and plant species. For the similarity of animal and plant species. on the similarity of animal and plant species were based on deeper facts, were based on deeper DEEPER, were based on deeper facts such as Lystrosaurus and Cynognathus, such as Lystrosaurus and Cynognathus being land reptiles, such as Lystrosaurus and Cynognathus being land reptiles, comma, how it is possible, comma, being land reptiles, how it is possible that if continents were not together as Pangea, how it is not possible that if continents were not together, how it is possible that if continents were not together as Pangea, if continents were not together as Pangea, comma, they would float across the ocean to a different continent for thousands of kilometers. They would float across the oceans to another continent for thousands of kilometers. इसमें आपको अंडरलाइन क्या करना है? What you have to underline is land reptile. Land reptile है ना, it will be found on the land. अगर continents together नहीं है, Wegener ने बोला, if continents are not together, it is not possible for an animal who's found on land to float across the ocean. वो ocean में पानी में survive ही नहीं कर पाएगा तो float कैसे करेगा, right? Yes? And his counter arguments were absolutely correct. Full stop. Also, for Mesosaurus, which was a freshwater reptile, Mesosaurus, which was a freshwater reptile found in South America and Africa, to float across saline water of the oceans, and reach the other continent, to float across the saline water of the oceans and reach other continent. Full stop. Lastly, lastly, comma, as per Wegener, how can the heavy seeds of Glossopteris float for thousands of kilometers and reach other four continents? इसके बाद क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाइएगा आप, ठीक है ना? Even in your writing, put a question mark after this. How can the heavy seeds of Glossopteris float for thousands of kilometers and reach other four continents? Why we are writing other four? Because it is found in 5. It is found in 5 land masses, right? लिख लिया? Done? How can the heavy seeds of Glossopteris float across the ocean and reach other four continents. Next paragraph. The work of Alfred Wegener, in terms of presenting the work of Alfred Wegener, in terms of presenting continental drift hypothesis, in terms of presenting continental drift hypothesis, was criticized on lot of grounds, was criticized on multiple grounds, and in a way was criticized on multiple grounds, and in a way rejected, in a way rejected, and in a way rejected, but still this theory holds great significance. This theory holds great significance in the history of crustal movement research. In the history of crustal movement research, full stop. From 1912, from 1912 to 1930, Wegener worked on deciphering worked on deciphering the right reasons for the drift of the plates, right reasons for drift of the plates, drift of the crustal plates. However, before he could present the second hypothesis, Wegener died in November 1930. Wegener died in November 1930. Next paragraph, last paragraph. Despite presenting the wrong reason for the drift of the continents, despite presenting the wrong reasons for the drift of the continents, the evidences presented by Alfred Wegener, evidences presented by Alfred Wegener remain strong and remain strong and evidence presented by Alfred Wegener remains strong and as of today means currently, as of today, remains strong and as of today provide a right indication towards the geological past of the earth, towards the geological past of the earth. Last line, his work became the basis of postulation of became the basis for कर दीजिए ठीक है ना basis for the postulation means framing of ना postulation लिखिए या framing लिखिए एक ही बात है postulation of plate tectonics theory 5 decades later. Plate tectonics theory 5 decades later. इसको हम कल पढ़ेंगे ठीक है ना His work became the basis for the postulation of plate tectonics theory 5 decades मतलब कहाँ से 1912 से 5 decade 50 years 1912 plus 50 years 1962 and beyond 1960s में throughout 1960s plate tectonics पे काम हुआ है when we consider the geological research which was done on the surface of the earth for deciphering as to why the continental plates moved right this we will read tomorrow okay clear until now continental drift evidences by Wegener the argument of the critics the counter argument by Wegener and the ultimate conclusion that despite everything, the evidences are very strong. They indicate rightly towards the geological past that certainly the continents were not separated as they seem today. They were part of Pangaea. Reason नहीं ठीक दे पाए Wegener, but nonetheless, his evidences still remain strong and correct. All right, we'll continue tomorrow. ठीक है Thank you for today.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.